Hello students. In last class we have discussed about the redox titration introduction and oxidation reduction. So what is the meaning of the oxidation and the reduction and its definition, differences between the oxidation and the reduction, reducing agents and oxidizing agent with examples, assigning oxidation number and the rules for assigning oxidation number, and examples and preparation for the standard solution of the redox titration. So in last class we have discussed the redox titration introduction, oxidation and the reduction, brief introduction and its definition, differences between the oxidation and the reduction, and also the what is a reducing agent and oxidizing agent, and also the assigning the oxidization number, and the rules, what are the rules we have to follow for the oxidizing oxidizing number with examples and preparation of the standard solution used for the redox titration. So today we are going to discuss about N by 10 potassium permanganate preparation. So N by 10 is also known as 0.1 normality. So N by 10 is also equal to the 0.1 normality. So here we have to prepare the zero point 0.1 normal potassium permanganate. So KMnO4 is the potassium permanganate. So in presence of dilute sulfuric acid and reducing agent, the 2 moles of the potassium permanganate, it will furnish the 5 atoms of the oxygen. So in presence of the dilute sulfuric acid and reducing agent, 2 moles of potassium permanganate, it will furnish the 5 oxygen atoms. See here, KMnO4. KMnO4 is the potassium permanganate. So when two molecules of the potassium permanganate, it is reacted with H2SO4 means sulfuric acid. So three molecules of the sulfuric acid, we will get the potassium sulfate. K2SO4 is a potassium sulfate. So potassium from the potassium permanganate and SO4 from the sulfuric acid. So here potassium sulfate is formed. Two molecules of manganese sulfate and here three water molecules and five oxygen molecules is formed. See here the two molecules of the potassium permanganate reacted with three molecules of the sulfuric acid. Here K2SO4 is the potassium sulfate and two molecules of the manganese sulfate and three water molecules and five oxygen is formed. So the equivalent weight of the potassium permanganate we have to calculate. So by using the molecular weight by 5, here 5 oxygen molecules are eliminated. So here 5. So the molecular weight of the potassium permanganate is 158 grams by 5. So 31.6 is the 1 normality, but we want 0.1 normality. So we have to take 3.16 grams of potassium permanganate in 1000 ml of the solution. So here we have to prepare 0.1 normality of the potassium permanganate. So we have to dissolve 3.16 grams of 3.16 grams of potassium permanganate in 1000 ml of solution. So it is not a primary standard because it is reduced by the atmospheric organic matter or organic matter present in the water. So standardization with oxalic acid. So in acidic medium, oxalic acid is oxidized by potassium permanganate. So the oxalic acid is oxidized by potassium permanganate to the water and carbon dioxide. So here if you see the reaction, 2MnO4 is the two molecules of permanganic acid. MnO4 is a permanganic acid and 5 molecules of the oxalate, 16 hydrogen molecules are reacted with each other. Then we will get the 2 molecules of the manganese and 10 molecules of the carbon dioxide and 8 water molecules we will get. So 2 molecules of the permanganic acid and 5 molecules of the oxalate and 16 hydrogen molecules. So we will get two manganese molecules and 10 molecules of the carbon dioxide and 8 water molecules we will get. So this the oxidation reaction should be occur mainly the temperature between 60 to 70 degrees centigrade. Here we have to maintain the 60 to 70 degrees centigrade. So the 6.3 grams of oxalic acid should be dissolved in 1000 ml of water to form the 0.1 normality. So here we want the 0.1 normality of the oxalic acid. So how we can prepare the 0.1 normality of the oxalic acid? By dissolving 6.3 grams of oxalic acid in 1000 ml of water. So this oxalic acid solution should be taken in the conical flask and this oxalic acid should be treated with sulfuric acid and the temperature should be maintained 70 degrees centigrade. So when the solution is in the hot condition, it should be titrated with potassium permanganate solution. So N by 10 is 0.1 normality. So 0.1 normality potassium permanganate solution we have to use. And until the pink color we got. So here we have to prepare the 0.1 normality of the oxalic acid, that is 6.3 grams of oxalic acid in 1000 ml of water, and it should be treated with sulfuric acid and the solution should be heated up to 70 degrees centigrade. So when the solution is in the hot condition, it should be titrated with using N by 10 or 0.1 normality of potassium permanganate solution until it changes to the pink color. So this is about the standardization with oxalic acid. Next, standardization with sodium oxalate. So the oxalic acid and sodium oxalate is not a more difference. It is similar, but its uh, state is different. So it is sodium oxalate means it is available in the salt form. So sodium oxalate means it is available in the salt form. So remaining properties are same as that of oxalic acid. So sodium oxalate is recorded as the better standardization agent than the oxalic acid. So it is available in the pure state and also free from water. So here 2 molecules of permanganic acid and 5 molecules of oxalate and 16 hydrogen, when they are reacted with each other, we will get the 2 molecules of the manganese, 10 molecules of the carbon dioxide and 8 molecules of the water. See here, 2 molecules of the permanganic acid and 5 molecules of the oxalate and 16 hydrogen molecules. We will get 2 molecules of the manganese and 10 molecules of the carbon dioxide and 8 molecules of the water. So the standardization with the sodium oxalate procedure is same as the standardization with oxalic acid. So here also we have to take the 6.3 grams of oxalic acid in 1000 ml of water to get the 0.1 normality. So for 0.1 normality, we have to take 6.3 grams of oxalic acid in 1000 ml of water, and it should treated with sulfuric acid, and the solution should be maintained 70 degrees centigrade. So while the solution is hot, it should be titrated with 0.1 normality or N by 10 potassium permanganate solution until the solution changes to the pink. So this is about the standardization with sodium oxalate. Next, standardization with ferrous ammonium sulfate. So it is the stable double salt. So it is a stable double salt, and it is oxidizing in cold condition by using potassium permanganate in presence of sulfuric acid. So if you see the reaction here, MnO4 is a permanganic acid, two molecules of the permanganic acid and 16 hydrogen molecules and 10 Fe2 plus means. So 10 molecules of the Fe2 plus means ferrous ion. Fe2 plus is the ferrous ion. So we will get the 2 molecules of the manganese and 10 molecules of the ferric ion. Fe3 plus means ferric ion and 8 water molecules. See here, when 2 molecules of the permanganic acid and 16 hydrogen molecules and 10 ferrous ion. So Fe2 plus means ferrous ion and are reacted with each other. So we will get 2 molecules of the manganese and 10 molecules of the ferric ion and 8 water molecules. So here we have to take some quantity of the ferrous ammonium sulfate. It should be dissolved in the distilled water, and before making up the volume, so we have to add the few drops of the sulfuric acid in order to avoid the oxidation process. And this solution should be titrated with N by 10 or 0.1 normal potassium permanganate solution until the solution changes to the pink color. So here we have to take this some quantity of the ferrous ammonium sulfate and should be dissolved in distilled water. This solution For this solution, we have to add the few drops of sulfuric acid in order to avoid the oxidation. So, this solution should be titrated with 0.1 normal potassium permanganate solution until the solution changes to the pink color. So, this is the standardization with ferrous ammonium sulfate. So, this is about the preparation of N by 10 potassium permanganate solution. Next, N by 10 potassium dichromate. So N by 10 potassium dichromate. So it is the salt of dichromic acid. H2Cr2O7 is the dichromic acid. So in acidic solution, each mole of potassium dichromate gets 3 atoms of the oxygen, which are used for oxidation process. So if you see the reaction here, the potassium dichromate K2Cr2O7 is a potassium dichromate. When it is reacted with the sulfuric acid, 4 molecules of the sulfuric acid, we will get potassium sulfate, and Cr2SO4 all taken twice means chromium sulfate. So this is the chromium sulfate. Cr2SO4 whole 3 is the chromium sulfate, and 4 molecules of the water and 3 oxygen molecules we will get. See here, this is a potassium dichromate. When it is reacted with the sulfuric acid, we will get potassium sulfate and chromium sulfate. Cr2SO4 is a chromium sulfate and water molecule and oxygen. So it is available in the pure state and its n by 10 solution is obtained by dissolving 1/6 of the gram molecular weight and diluting the solution to 1000 ml. So this reagent finds use in standardization approximately approximately 0.1 iodine and also in ferrous iron titration. So here we have to take the 1 by 6th gram of 6th part. So 1 by 6th part of gram molecular weight in the 1000 ml of solution, and this should be standardization approximately 0.1 normal iodine solution. So let's see what is the iodometry and iodometry. So estimation of the reducing substance by using the standard iodine is called iodometry. So estimation of reducing substance by using the standard iodine is called iodometry. So iodine in aqueous solution behaves as mild oxidizing agent. So when the iodine is available in the aqueous solution form means it acts as the mild oxidizing agent. So strong reducing agent such as sodium thiosulfate or stannous chloride react readily with iodine even in acidic solution. So the iodine acts as the oxidizing agent. So here we want the reducing agent. So reducing agent we have to take the sodium thiosulfate or stannous chloride. So this are readily reacted with iodine because iodine acts as the oxidizing agent. So we want the reducing agent. So for the reducing agent, here we are taking the sodium thiosulfate. See here, this is the sodium thiosulfate. Two molecules of the sodium thiosulfate, when it is reacted with the iodine, we will get the sodium tetrathionate and sodium iodide we will get. So this is the Na2S4O6 is a sodium tetrathionate and two molecules of sodium iodide we will get. So the above solution is indirectly used for estimating of oxidizing agent which reacts with potassium iodide to set free an equivalent of iodine. So for example, if we take the copper. So copper when it is reacted with the iodine molecules, we will get the copper diiodide. So two iodines are there. So copper diiodide and iodine will get separated. So when the copper, two molecules of the copper reacted with four molecules of the iodine, we will get copper diiodide. So here two of the iodine will get shifted here. So copper diiodide and iodine. So this iodine when it is treated with thiosulfate, two molecules of thiosulfate. So H2O3 is the thiosulfate. So two molecules of the thiosulfate, we will get tetrathionate. So S4O6 is the tetrathionate and two iodine molecules we will get. So the indirect estimation of oxidizing agent involve the liberation of the iodine, and volumetric estimation of the iodine are termed as iodometry. So the indirectly estimation of the oxidizing agent involve the liberation of the iodine, and the volumetric estimation of the iodine are termed as iodometry. So the indicator used in the titrating iodine solution with sodium thiosulfate has been 1% starch solution. So when we are performing the titration of the iodine solution. So, while performing the titration process with iodine solution with sodium thiosulfate, we have to use the starch solution as the indicator. So it produces the blue color absorption complex with free iodine. So how we have to prepare the starch indicator? So nearly we have to take 1 gram of starch in 5 ml of water to the thin paste we have to make. So this paste has to be poured into the 100 ml of boiling water, and the mixture has to be boiled for 2 to 3 minutes, and it should be cool, and then we can able to use. So preparation of the starch means here we have to take 1 gram of the starch mixed with 5 ml of water until the thick paste is formed. So this paste has to be poured in 100 ml of boiling water, and this mixture should be boiled for 2 to 3 minutes, and after getting of the cool we have to use. Next, preparation of N by 10 iodine solution. So we have to prepare zero point 0.1 normal iodine solution. So approximately N by 10 solution of iodine is prepared by transferring 12.7 grams of iodine, 18 grams of potassium iodide, and 50 ml of water into the stopper iodine flask, and how to shake the mixture until the solution get completed. So we have to take the iodine flask. So we have to take the iodine flask. In the iodine flask, we have to take 12.7 grams of iodine, 12.7 grams of iodine, and 18 grams of potassium iodide, and 50 ml of the water. We have to shake properly until we will get the solution. So until the complete iodine and the potassium iodide should be dissolved in the water, until we have to shake it. So it is standardized by using N by 10 sodium thiosulfate solution, so which in turns gets standard potassium permanganate solution or potassium dichromate solution are as follows. So this it should be standardized with using N by 10 sodium thiosulfate, so which in turns gets standard potassium permanganate or potassium dichromate solution. So by using the potassium permanganate solution, so it is based on fact that potassium permanganate in acidic solution, when it is treated with excess of potassium iodide, it will liberates the free iodine. So when potassium permanganate in the acidic solution, when it is treated with potassium iodide, so the iodine will get freely liberated. So the liberated iodine is titrated against the sodium thiosulfate using starch as the indicator. So we will get the blue color. So here nothing but when the potassium permanganate is treated with the potassium iodide, so the iodine will get free. So this iodine should be titrated with sodium thiosulfate by using the starch solution as the indicator. We will get the blue color. So if you see the reaction here, 2 molecules of permanganic acid and 10 molecules of the iodine, 16 molecules of the hydrogen. So when they will get reacted with each other, we will get 2 molecules of the manganese and 8 water molecules and 5 iodine we will get. See here, permanganic acid, when it is reacted with the iodine and hydrogen, we will get 2 molecules of the manganese and 8 hydro water molecules and 5 iodine. So here I said no, the iodine will get free. So here the free iodine is formed. So the free iodine, when it is reacted with thiosulfate, so S2O3 is the 2 molecules of thiosulfate, we will get tetrathionate and iodine molecule. So this is the procedure by using the potassium permanganate solution. Next, by using the potassium dichromate. K2Cr2O7 is the potassium dichromate. So it is also based upon the fact the dichromate like potassium permanganate is able to liberate I2 means iodine from potassium iodide in presence of the acid. So the liberated iodine is treated with sodium sodium thiosulfate using a starch indicator until the solution changes to the blue color. So here also when it is reacted with iodine in presence of the acid, so the free iodine is liberated. So this iodine should be treated with sodium thiosulfate using starch solution as the indicator until the blue color solution is obtained. So Cr2O7 is the dichromate. So it is the dichromate when it is reacted with 14 hydrogen molecules and 6 iodine. So we will get the chromium, 2 molecules of the chromium, 7 water molecules and 3 iodine molecules. So this here the dichromate treated with 14 hydrogen and 6 iodine molecules. So we will get the 2 molecules of the chromium, 7 water molecules and 3 iodine. So this is about the procedures involved in the preparation of the N by 10 iodine solution. So next let's see some of the examples involved in the redox titration. So first example is potassium permanganate against arsenic trioxide. So first one is potassium permanganate against arsenic trioxide. So potassium permanganate has been a salt of permanganic acid in the presence of reducing agent, and in sulfuric acid 2 moles of potassium permanganate gives 5 atoms of the oxygen. So here when the potassium permanganate reacted with the sulfuric acid, see here when the potassium 2 molecules of the potassium permanganate reacted with 3 molecules of the sulfuric acid, we will get potassium sulfate, and 2 molecules of the manganese sulfate and 3 water molecules and 5 oxygen molecules is formed. So the equivalent weight is 158 is the molecular weight of the potassium permanganate by 5. So here 5 oxygen molecules are get separated. No, here we have to divide it with 5. We will get 31.6. But we want the for the 0.1 normality, not for the 1 normality. We have to prepare for 0.1 normality. So here we have to take 3.16 grams dissolved in 1000 ml of water. So 0.16 grams of the potassium permanganate should be dissolved in 1000 ml of water, and the solution is filtered through the glass wool and stored in the amber color bottle. So this is the amber color bottle. See here, the bottle is almost all in the brown color. So we have to store that solution in the amber colored bottle to protect against from the light. And 0.15 grams of arsenic trioxide is, we have to take 0.15 grams of dried arsenic trioxide is dissolved in 10 ml of 20% sodium hydroxide. So 20% sodium hydroxide solution means we have to dissolve 20 grams in 100 ml of water. So This 0.15 grams of arsenic trioxide is dissolved in 10 ml of 20% sodium hydroxide solution, and the solution is diluted to 100 ml. So the solution we have to make up to 100 ml, and it is titrated with 10 ml of cold hydrochlor. It is treated with 10 ml of cold hydrochloric acid and titrated with potassium permanganate solution until it changes to the slightly pink color. So here in this we have to take, first we have to take 3.16 grams of potassium permanganate in 1000 ml of water. So this has to be stored in amber color bottle against to protect against the light. Then we have to take 0.15 grams of arsenic trioxide in 110 ml of 20% sodium hydroxide solution. Then we have to make the volume to the 100 ml. Then this it is should be treated with 10 ml of cold hydrochloric acid and titrated with potassium permanganate solution until it changes to this light pink color. So if you see the reaction here, AS2O3 is the arsenic trioxide. So trioxide means three oxygen molecules are there. So arsenic trioxide, when it is reacted with the two oxygen molecules, we will get arsenic pentoxide. So here these two oxygen molecules will combine here to form arsenic pentoxide. See here arsenic trioxide, when it is reacted with two oxygen molecules, we will get arsenic pentoxide. Next, potassium permanganate against sodium thiosulfate. So here we have to take the 40 ml of N by 10 potassium permanganate solution is added to the solution of 15 grams of potassium iodide in 50 ml of water having 7 to 8 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid. So here we have to take 40 ml of 0.1 normality of potassium permanganate solution. So this 40 ml of potassium permanganate solution should be added to the 15 grams of potassium iodide in 50 ml of water having 7 to 8 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid, and this solution should be titrated against N by 10 means 0.1 normality sodium thiosulfate by using this starch mucilage as an indicator. So first we have to take 40 ml of potassium permanganate and 40 ml of potassium permanganate and 15 grams of potassium iodide, 50 ml of water and 7 to 8 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid should be taken. And this solution should be titrated by using sodium thiosulfate and by using the starch mucilage as indicator. If you see the reaction here, 2 molecules of potassium permanganate and 10 molecules of potassium iodide, 16 molecules of hydrochloric acid. See here 2 molecules of potassium permanganate and 10 molecules of potassium iodide and 16 molecules of hydrochloric acid. We will get 12 molecules of potassium chloride and 2 molecules of manganese chloride and 5 iodine molecules and 8 water molecules we will get. Next, potassium permanganate against oxalic acid. So here we have to take the required quantity of the oxalic acid dissolved in water, and it should be as treated with dilute sulfuric acid. And here we have to maintain the 60 to 70 degrees centigrade, and it should be titrated with sodium thiosulfate, potassium permanganate solution to the faint pink color. So here we have to take the oxalic acid. This oxalic acid should be dissolved in water and it should be treated with dilute sulfuric acid, and we have to maintain 60 to 70 degrees centigrade and titrated by using the sodium thiosulfate potassium permanganate solution until the faint pink color is obtained. Next, iodine against trioxide solution. So the aqueous solution of the iodine acts as mild oxidizing agent. So the iodine solution acts as the oxidizing agent. So iodine solution is obtained by dissolving the iodine in presence of excessive potassium iodide in this water. So the iodine is obtained when we dissolve the potassium iodide in the water. See here, when the iodine dissolved in water, we will get the hydrogen iodide plus oxygen molecules. So in order to prepare N by 10 iodine solution, we have to take 12.7 grams of iodine and 18 grams of potassium iodide in 1000 ml of water. So if we want to prepare the N by 10 iodine solution, means we have to take 12.7 grams of iodine and 18 grams of potassium iodide in 1000 ml of water. So nearly 0.15 grams of arsenic trioxide is dissolved in sodium hydroxide. Then it is acidified with using hydrochloric acid and treated with an excess of sodium bicarbonate and titrated with iodine solution using starch mucilage as indicator until the permanent blue color is obtained. So here we have to take 0.15 grams of arsenic trioxide. This 0.15 grams of arsenic trioxide should be dissolved in sodium hydroxide, and for this solution we have to add hydrochloric acid and sodium bicarbonate. We have to treat with iodine solution. We have to titrate it with iodine solution using starch mucilage as an indicator until the permanent blue color is obtained. So if you see the reaction here, A2SO3 is the arsenic trioxide. When it is reacted with the water molecule, we will get arsenous acid. So we will get arsenous acid. When arsenous acid reacted with iodine and water molecule, we will get arsenic acid and two hydrogen iodine molecules. So this is about the iodine against trioxide, and these are the examples which are involved in the redox titration. So the examples are potassium permanganate against arsenic trioxide. Potassium permanganate against arsenic trioxide. Second one, potassium permanganate against sodium thiosulfate. Third one, potassium permanganate against oxalic acid. Fourth one, iodine against trioxide. So these are the applications involved in the redox titration. So in this topic overall, we have discussed the brief introduction to the redox titration, means definition, what is its meaning, and preparation, and also the oxidation reduction definitions. So in three ways we have discussed the oxidation and the reduction definition according to the oxygen, according to the hydrogen, and according to the electrons manner. We have discussed the oxidation and the reduction definitions and preparation of the standard solution used for the redox titrations, and also the difference between the oxidation and the reduction. So what is the main differences between the oxidation and the reduction, and what is the reducing agent and oxidizing agent with examples, assigning the oxidation number and rules for assigning the oxidation number with examples, and preparation of the N by 10 potassium permanganate and preparation of the N by 10 sodium dichromate and iodine solution, and also the examples of the redox titration. So in this topic we have, in this unit we have discussed these topics, that is brief introduction and definition of the redox titration, and the oxidation and reduction definition, difference between the oxidation and the reduction, and reducing agent, oxidizing agent, assigning the oxidation number, rules for the oxidation number, examples, and also the oxidizing and reducing agents, and preparation of the standard solution, N by 10 potassium permanganate preparation, potassium dichromate preparation, iodine solution preparation, and examples of the redox titration. Always remember one thing, that don't get confusion if in the examination if they ask the uh, not directly if they ask the what is the redox titration, or indirectly if they ask the what is the oxidation reduction reaction, means don't get confusion. The oxidation reduction reaction is also known as redox titration. Remember this one thing, that oxidation reduction reaction is means the redox titration. So these are the references books we have to follow. Thank you.